Good day everyone. We are the last presenter, the group 3, and this day we are going to tackle about the microalgal biotechnology. I am Rizalyn Bidalingay, and my members are Mr. Eugene Dakanay, Mr. Lawrence Biray, Mr. Aldrey Fangon, Mr. Kevin Mark Lamiing, Mr. Carlo Lopez, Miss Via Gerson, and Miss Yolanda Orsi. So this video or presentation is all about exploring microalgae applications and culture techniques. So what is microalgal biotechnology? Microalgal biotechnology or microalgae biotechnology harnesses the potential of microalgae for sustainable applications, including biofuel production, environmental remediation, and the development of valuable bioproducts. So when we talk microalgal biotechnology, it means na parang yung microalgae, we are using the technology or the advancement of our technologies para maka-create or para makagawa ng bagong products from microalgae nga. So, for example, yung sa biofuels, pharmaceutical, food, ganun. Like, we are making one product into another product. So, what is algal biotechnology or microalgae biotechnology? Algal biotechnology is the use of microorganisms such as the algae in a variety of supplementations or applications, from food and wastewater treatment to petrochemicals and biofuels. Tulad nga po nung sinabi ko kanina na ang microalgal biotechnology ay parang pagko-convert ng isang product sa isa pang product. For example, the microalgae into food supplements or biofuels or the wastewater treatment. And ano nga ba yung importance ng microalgal biotechnology? It provides a sustainable and renewable source of energy and other valuable resources, making it a promising alternative to traditional petroleum-based products. So, yung sa nandito lang sa PPT po namin ay mainly focus on the petroleum-based or yung mga biofuels na products na nagagawa ng microalgal biotechnology. But on the other hand, pwede pang ma-create ang microalgae into food supplements, pharmaceuticals, like that. And also, yung sa agar na ginagamit natin sa mga laboratories, and yung microalgal biotechnology, it has a lot of importance because it provides a lot of renewable sources nga, kumbaga. And parang mas nalalesan din ito yung sa carbon emission, for example. Kasi we know that plants absorbs carbon, and that's it. And what are the benefits of microalgal biotechnology? Algal biotechnology can lead to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, improve water quality, and new economic opportunities. Tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, where we know that plants absorb carbon dioxides, and yun nga, yung sa reduce greenhouse gas emissions and improve water quality. We also know that pagka sa microalgae, parang ina-absorb niya or yung parang tinatanggal niya yung mga toxic chemicals nandun. For example, the ammonias, and also it provides new economic opportunities kasi nga yung sa mga food byproducts ng microalgae ay parang nagbibigay lang din ito ng livelihood, or parang nagbibigay ito ng new opportunities sa ating mga tao or sa mga tao. So the next slide is microalgae and its uses. And we all know that microalgae is photosynthetic organisms, and meaning po ng parang yung food nila ay nakukuha nila through sun. And we also know that microalgae has a lot of uses or has a lot of benefits in terms of the ecological services, which is yung sa absorption ng carbon dioxide and yung byproducts ng microalgae. So that's all for my part, and the next reporter is Mr. Viray Lawrence, and he will be explaining the microalgae and its uses or the benefits of microalgae. Thank you.
My name is Lawrence Viray. First, I'll introduce what microalgae are. Microalgae are microscopic organisms with vast potential across industries, including food, pharmaceuticals, and biofuels. So, sabi dito, yung microalgae are microscopic organisms, which means they are so small, we can only see them under a microscope. They are very important because they have a wide range of uses in different industries such as food, pharmaceuticals, and biofuels. Now that we understand what microalgae are, let's look at how they are classified. So, microalgae are classified based on pigmentation, cell structure, and genetics into groups like green algae, diatoms, and cyanobacteria. Understanding classification is critical for selecting species suitable for different industrial needs. So, sabi dito, microalgae are classified base sa kanilang pigmentation, cell structure, and genetics. So, yung some common groups include green algae, diatoms, and cyanobacteria. Each group has a different features and benefits. So, understanding this classification is important because different types of microalgae are used for different industrial purposes. Next is uses of microalgae. So, first, biofuel production of algae. Microalgae can be used as a sustainable feedstock for biodiesel production due to their high lipid content and fast growth rates. So, sabi dito, dahil sa high lipid content at fast growth rates ng microalgae, considered sila na promising feedstock para sa biodiesel production. Ang paggamit ng microalgae bilang biofuel ay isang sustainable alternative sa fossil fuels at nakakatulong sa development ng renewable energy. So next is food. Some microalgae have proven to be excellent sources of nutrients including proteins, lipids, polysaccharides, vitamins, and minerals. So certain microalgae species are excellent sources ng nutrients tulad ng proteins, lipids, polysaccharides, vitamins at minerals. So, dahil dito, nagiging valuable supplement ang microalgae sa human diet kasi nagbibigay sila ng essential nutrients para sa overall health at well-being. Next is pharmaceutical. Microalgae produce medicinally useful bioactive compounds and other chemicals. Example, antioxidants, pigments, and biopolymers of interest in food processing. So, sabi dito, ang microalgae ay nagproproduce ng iba't ibang bioactive compounds tulad ng antioxidants, pigments at biopolymers na may medicinal at industrial value. Mahalaga ang mga ito sa drug development, food processing at iba pang health-related applications. Next naman is feed supplement. Microalgae contain essential nutrients such as proteins, lipids, vitamins, and minerals, making them advantageous as supplements in aquafeed. So, sabi dito, yung mga microalgae ay commonly ginagamit bilang feed supplements sa aquaculture. Nagpo-provide sila ng essential nutrients tulad ng proteins, lipids, vitamins at minerals na nakakatulong sa healthy growth ng farmed fish at iba pang aquatic animals. Dahil dito, efficient at sustainable option sila para sa animal nutrition. So next is wastewater treatment. Microalgae are photosynthetic microorganisms that can absorb a wide range of organic and inorganic pollutants. So sabi dito, maaaring gamitin ang microalgae sa wastewater treatment dahil sila ay photosynthetic microorganisms na kayang mag-absorb ng organic at inorganic pollutants. So dahil dito, effective sila na pag-reduce ng environmental contamination at pagpapalinis ng tubig. Next is environmental benefits and sustainability. Microalgae contribute to carbon dioxide fixation, improving air quality, used as energy, biofuels, and reducing greenhouse gases. Their cultivation requires less land and water than traditional crops, promoting sustainable biomass production. They also support wastewater treatment by absorbing excess nutrients. Next, we have a short video for you. Please watch and understand it to get a clearer idea of how microalgae are used in real-life situations.
We all need fuel to get around, and as America takes steps to improve our energy security, homegrown fuel sources are more important than ever. The Energy Department is researching one of the fuel sources of the future found here in algae. Have a look at this algae farm. These large man-made ponds are called raceways, and they cultivate a new crop of algae every few weeks. You see, algae, or more correctly, microalgae, are very small aquatic organisms that convert sunlight into energy. Some of these algae store energy in the form of natural oils. Under the right conditions, algae can make a lot of oil that can be converted into biofuels. Algae could potentially produce up to 60 times more oil per acre than land-based plants. Extract that oil, and you have the raw materials to make fuel for cars, trucks, trains, and planes. In the future, anything that runs on gasoline and diesel could also use biofuel from algae. The oil is extracted by breaking down the cell structure of the algae. This can be done by using solvents or sound waves. After the oil is extracted, then it is further processed at an integrated biorefinery, or in the future, at a traditional oil refinery. Another great benefit of algae? Consider this. Like plants, algae needs carbon dioxide to grow, and that's good for the environment since it takes CO2 out of the atmosphere, making it a nearly carbon-neutral fuel source. There may even be opportunities to build algae farms next to power plants that use fossil fuels, actually using CO2 exhaust to feed algae ponds. There are over 100,000 different strains of algae. Some grow better in different climates, or in freshwater, saltwater, or even wastewater. So, scientists are testing different algae under many different conditions to find the best strains and develop the most efficient farming practices. While commercial production is still a ways off, algae holds great promise to become a reliable homegrown fuel source to reduce our nation's reliance on foreign oil.
The video explained how algae can be used to produce biofuel. Algae grow quickly, absorb carbon dioxide, and store oil that can be extracted and converted into fuel. This process is more sustainable and environmentally friendly than fossil fuels because it reduces pollution and can be renewable. So, next reporter is Yolanda Orsit.
So, next is the screening and culture of microalgae. So, ito yung important process in microalgal biotechnology because it helps identify and grow the best microalgae for different uses. So, sa madaling salita, ito ang unang step para makakuha ng tamang uri ng microalgae na gagamitin sa research o production. So, yung unang process nito starts with isolation techniques such as serial dilution, plating, and single-cell picking. Ang mga way na ito ay ginagawa sa sterile o malinis na kondisyon to make sure na pure o walang halo ang kinoculture. This process is important kasi dahil nga syempre kapag may contamination, maapektuhan yung growth and quality ng microalgae na kinoculture.
So, after isolation, the next step is culturing the microalgae under optimal conditions. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan kontrolado ang mga factors tulad ng yung ilaw, temperature, pH, at nutrients para mapabilis at mapaganda ang paglaki ng microalgae. May mga special na culture media na ginagamit para ma-provide ang tamang nutrients. One example ng culture media is yung F2 medium, yung Gillard's F2. Ito is commonly ginagamit for marine microalgae. Meron itong vitamins like B12, nitrogen, phosphorus, trace elements, at seawater base. Kaya perfect siya para sa marine water algae. Madalas itong ginagamit sa laboratory at sa aquaculture. For marine microalgae, kailangan din ng salty na environment or saline conditions. Kapag tama ang conditions, mas mataas ang biomass production at mas marami ring useful compounds ang naproproduce. Another important part is monitoring growth and controlling contamination. Habang lumalaki ang microalgae, minomonitor ng researchers ang cell density, photosynthetic activity, at nutrient levels para syempre malaman kung maayos yung pagpalaki nila or yung growth. Mahalagang paggamit ng sterile techniques para maiwasan ang bacteria o fungi na pwedeng sumira sa culture. Kapag nagkaroon ng contamination, syempre bumababa ang productivity o tuluyan ng masira yung culture. So the next reporter who will be reporting the mass production techniques is Carlo Lopez.
Major stages in mass production. Number 1 is the cultivation. This is the growth stage of microalgae under controlled conditions, or the process of growing seaweed in coastal waters. Photobioreactor versus open fan system versus heterotrophic system. Photobioreactors offer controlled environments with optimized light, temperature, and CO2, enhancing productivity and reducing contaminations risk. Open pan systems are more cost-effective, susceptible to environmental variability and contaminations. The choice depends on the species, scales, and economic considerations. Heterotrophic system, characterized by the use of organic carbon sources instead of sunlight, allowing microalgae to grow and metabolize in the absence of light. This method is advantageous as it overcomes the limitation of photoautotrophic cultivation, such as the need of optimal light supply and the risk of night biomass loss. Number 2 is harvesting. Harvesting separates microalgal cells from water. It is one of the most expensive steps in production. In harvesting, we have different methods. First is the flocculation chemicals or natural agents are added to cause microalgal cells to clump together, form flocks, making them easier to separate. It is relatively low cost but may affect biomass quality.
So third is drying. Drying removes moisture to preserve biomass and prepare it for storage or processing. So ang drying, this is the process kung paano yung pagtanggal ng tubig sa biomass and para hindi ito madaling masira and also para mas tumagal na din ang shelf life. So may iba't ibang paraan na depende yun sa pangangailangan and also sa budget na din. So first is spray-drying liquid biomass is sprayed into hot air, rapidly evaporating moisture. It is fast and suitable for large-scale damage production but may heat-sensitive compound. So dito, ina-spray yung liquid sa mainit na hangin para mas mabilis matuyo. So maganda ito sa malaking production kasi nga mas mabilis, pero pwede ding maapektuhan yung ibang nutrients dahil sa init. So next is freeze-drying biomass is frozen and then dried under vacuum, preserving nutrients and bioactive compounds. It produces high-quality products but is expensive and energy-intensive. So yung freeze-drying naman is mas maganda and also mas maganda yung quality niya dahil napapanatili niya yung mga nutrients. Yung problema naman dito is may kamahalan siya and also mas matagal yung process. So next is sun-drying. A low-cost method that uses natural sunlight, however, it is low, weather-dependent, and may lead to contamination or nutrient loss. The method chosen depends on cost and the need to preserve sensitive bioactive compounds. So sa sun-drying, ito yung pinakasimple and mura dahil nga gumagamit lang sila ng sikat ng araw. Pero ang problema dito, mas mabagal siya and nakadepende lang siya sa panahon. And may possibility din na madumihan siya and mabawasan yung mga nutrients. So next is scale up challenges and solution. Scaling microalgae production from lab to industrial scale involved challenges like maintaining uniform conditions, preventing contamination, and optimizing nutrient supply. Solutions include improved reactor design, automation, and integrated monitoring system to ensure consistent and efficient biomass output.
Most people don't realize is that farming spirulina is extremely difficult. If even one variable is a little bit off, it can kill the entire culture. And that's why we test for things like pH, culture density, and temperature every single day. Because spirulina is an extremophile, it thrives in high pH. And because it's native to the desert, it likes a lot of heat too. Keeping a constant eye on these numbers can tell us if the culture is healthy and if it's getting all the inputs that it needs to thrive. It makes all the difference in the world between a living crop and a damaged or even dead one.
So dito, pinapakita yung mga challenges kapag pinalalaki na ang production mula sa maliit na setup papunta sa industrial scale. So isa sa mga problem nila kung paano yung mapapanatiling pare-pareho yung condition tulad ng tamang nutrients, yung ilaw at temperature. So may risk din ang contamination na pwedeng makasira ng buong production. So, para masolusyonan naman nila ito, gumagamit ng mas advanced na kagamitan tulad ng improved reactor design, automation, at monitoring systems. So, sa ganitong paraan, mas nakokontrol yung process at mas nagiging consistent yung output kahit malakihan na yung production. So, next is harvesting and biomass processing. Harvesting microalgal biomass employs techniques such as centrifugation, filtration, and flocculation, balancing efficiency and cost. Post-harvest processing includes drying and extraction of valuable compounds. Effective harvesting is vital for maximizing yield and product quality and commercial application. So dito naman pinapakita kung paano kinukuha yung mga microalgae mula sa tubig. So gumamit sila ng iba't ibang paraan tulad ng pagsala o filtration, pag-ikot gamit yung makina tulad ng centrifugation, and pagdikit-dikit ng algae para mas madaling makuha or yung flocculation. So yung goal na ito, dito mas masaseparate ang mga algae mula sa tubig para makuha yung biomass.
Now let's move on to bioactive compounds found in microalgae. Microalgae are microscopic organisms that grow using sunlight, carbon dioxide, and nutrients through photosynthesis. When cultivated in controlled systems like bioreactors, they produce what we call algal biomass. This biomass is rich in important compounds such as lipids, proteins, carbohydrates, vitamins, and pigments. These are called bioactive compounds because they have beneficial effects on human health. For example, microalgae like spirulina are grown in ponds and then processed into powders or tablets that people take as dietary supplements. They can also be added to foods like smoothies or protein bars to improve nutrition. Aside from health benefits, microalgae also help the environment by absorbing carbon dioxide during their growth. So, for this slide, let's take a look at the different types of bioactive compounds found in microalgae. First, we have polyunsaturated fatty acids or PUFAs. These are healthy fats such as omega-3 that help reduce inflammation and support heart health. For example, omega-3 from microalgae is commonly used in fish oil capsules and even in infant formula. Next are carotenoids. These are natural pigments with strong antioxidant properties that support eye and skin health. A good example is astaxanthin, which is used in supplements and also added to fish feeds. We also have polyphycobiliproteins. These are proteins with antioxidant effects that can boost the immune system. For instance, phycocyanin from spirulina is used as natural blue coloring in candies and beverages. Another group is polysaccharides. These are complex sugars that help regulate the immune system and reduce inflammation. They are used in foods like jelly and desserts, especially in the form of agar as thickening agent. Lastly, phenolic compounds have antioxidant and antimicrobial properties. These are often used as natural preservatives to help extend the shelf life of food products. Health benefits. Research has shown that bioactive compounds from microalgae can help in managing various health conditions. They help reduce inflammation. For example, omega-3 fatty acids are commonly taken as supplements to relieve joint pain and inflammation. They help protect against oxidative stress. Antioxidants from microalgae protect our cells from damage, which can help slow aging and reduce the risk of chronic diseases. They also help in diabetes management. For instance, some people consume spirulina regularly to help control blood sugar levels and improve insulin sensitivity. Lastly, these compounds provide neuroprotection. Omega-3 from algae is often included in supplements that support brain function and memory, especially for adults. So for the following slide will be presented by Dakanay Eugene.
Next is industrial application. Next is biofuel production of algae. Microalgae can be used as sustainable feedstock for biodiesel production to their high lipid content and fast growth. Yun nga, yung microalgae is one of the sustainable feedstock for biodiesel production due to their high lipid and mabilis din silang sa fast growth rates nila. Next is the limitation. The commercial viability of microalgae biofuels as renewable fuel uncertain to due production cost and storage
My name
stability.
is Cristina Brito,
Yun nga,
and I'm a plant scientist
ang microalgae
working
as
now with
biofuels
microalgae
as renewable
as
fuel
biostimulants for
uncertain due to
plants.
high production cost. Yun nga, mahal
What
yung cost niya.
microalgae
Kaya
does
hindi siya
is
pwedeng
it takes all
uncertain
the nitrogen
renewable
and phosphorus from the
for
rainwater
fuel.
from the plants,
Next
and
is
the microalgae converts these into special
fertilizer.
components like
Microalgae are
vitamins
employed
or like
in
amino
agriculture
acids,
as
and then they have a lot of
biofilters and
pigments.
soil
They can
conditioners.
interact
The
with the microbiome
majority
in
of
the soil.
cyanobacteria
That's why
are
the plant can
capable of
benefit
fixing
from
atmospheric
these
nitrogen
substances
and
to
are
grow better.
effectively used as biofilters. Yun nga, microalgae, pwede siyang maging gamitin ng mga magsasaka as soil conditioners and biofilters. Yun nga. Wastewater treatment, generally the tradition practices used for WWT or World Trade include primary and secondary treatment approaches. Primary treatment targets the removal of solid particles, while secondary treatment aims to decompose organic bacteria.
The food and drink industry produces huge quantities of wastewater, but current methods to treat effluents are often very expensive and not eco-friendly. But under this greenhouse in Italy, researchers are cultivating microalgae that absorb the nutrients for their growth, a technology that could, they believe, meet EU financial and environmental requirements. Campo Rosso in the northwest of Italy is part of the European Salt Ghee project aimed at demonstrating the benefits of algae in wastewater treatment. Across Europe, treating wastewater normally accounts for around 1% of total electricity consumption. But this scientist is convinced that the process of photosynthesis, as old as life on Earth, can not only reduce the expense of treating polluted water, but make it a valuable resource.
The microalgae in this project is used to treat water from the dairy industry. This water must first be purified before getting to the second stage, during which it will be used to grow the culture of microalgae you can see in the ponds behind me. After harvesting, we obtain on one side the treated water, which you can see is clear and free of polluting substances. And on the other side, biomass, which is a high added value product that can be sold on the market once it has passed our strict quality control.
The algae first sees the light in this laboratory. This one in particular is spirulina. After 3 billion years of existence, it has many beneficial qualities, including the ability to grow in high salinity water.
This alga is capable of storing contaminants, which are the result of various industrial processes, such as nitrates, which are the main nutrient needed for the algae to grow. The alga is able to store it as protein inside its tissues through photosynthesis, which allows it to increase its concentration in the culture ponds.
Unlike carbon dioxide and wastewater, that's about all these algae need to enable them to consume the pollutants and grow. This self-sufficient process can produce as much as 20 kilograms of dry spirulina per day. The green powder can then be sold to produce cosmetics, fertilizers, animal feed, or even material for 3D printing. An opportunity for manufacturers wanting to benefit from their wastewater. A full-scale test was carried out at this factory in Slovenia, which specializes in animal hides. The water coming out of this warehouse is 3 times more saline than the sea, making it very expensive to treat with conventional methods, which require a lot of oxygen. But this algae culture installed below produces oxygen for free and in a sustainable way. Here, the algae are mixed with bacteria, absorbing the carbon dioxide it produces and turning it into oxygen.
In principle, we are saving approximately 50 to 70% of energy used in the wastewater treatment. Less energy consumption, less CO2 emissions, and the second very important one, more nutrients are built into the biomass, so we have less problems with eutrophication. We can recycle nutrients instead of releasing them into the environment, producing bad effects into the environment.
Now the research work continues to test various species of algae and make installations like these completely sustainable, so cultures can be built near European factories and pave the way towards a more circular economy.
Yun nga, pwede siyang gamitin as a treatment, paggamot sa maduming mga wastewater treatment nga siya. And yun nga, next reporter is Miss Bia Gerson.
So first, next naman na po is the pharmaceutical and nutraceutical uses of microalgae. This slide shows how microalgae serve as valuable sources in terms of medicine and health products. Their active components possess anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and antimicrobial properties which make them useful in creating pharmaceutical and nutraceutical formulations. And beyond treating or preventing issues, they also support key bodily functions like immune system regulation, positioning them as an important ingredient for functional health products. Next naman po is the second to the last slide naman na po is the commercial products and its market trends. This slide outlines the wide range of products derived from microalgae. It includes dietary supplements, cosmetic, animal feed additives, and biofuels. It also explains how the market's rapidly growth sa mga microalgae products po. Then, which is fueled by two main factors. First, the global shift towards sustainability kasi nga gumagamit tayo ng microalgae as alternative use para makagawa ng mga health and medicines like or health products or beauty products. Next naman po is yung increasing customer interest in natural and eco-friendly goods since yung microalgae is a natural, parang common and marami dito sa Philippines po. This slide also, the slide notes din po na kapag may further innovation pa po na gamit ang microalgae is mas may expand pa yung magiging use niya sa industry. Tapos yun dyan naman po sa diagram is nakikita nyo naman na yung mga other uses niya pa like sa application niya sa food, sa medicine, sa materials, and even sa mga technologies like 3D painting. So eto na po, magbabanggit po ako ng 2 examples ng beauty product na ginamitan ng red algae. First po is the Osimalbu Eyes and Lips po. This product po is a hydrating cream po specifically for delicate skin around the eyes and lips. Then ito nga po feature gawa po ito sa red algae o the Chondrus cryptus po na species of red algae. Next naman po is the HelloGuard T65. Ito naman po is sunscreen naman po, gamit din yung red seaweeds na po. So last slide naman po is the conclusion. This final slide po is summarize po yung all potentials ng microalgae na it also emphasizes that microalgae offers promising opportunity across many sectors kasi nabanggit din naman like sa part ng food, medicine, technologies, pati sa mga cosmetics po. Pero this innovation is nag-include po siya because po yun sa mga modern technologies kaya din po natin nagawa yun. And microalgae needs more further improvements po para mas malaman natin how microalgae be useful to us. Then microalgae process are key drivers for market expansion. This conclusion also stresses that continued research, innovation, and investment will be necessary to fully unlock both the economic and environmental benefits that can microalgae provide us.